1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Hello, everybody. Welcome along to the live stream. If you can see and hear me okay, please go ahead and let me know that we're good. Nomadic Blue is here. Hello to you. If you can give me a thumbs up, let me know where you're watching from in the comments. Maybe even tell me what the weather's like. It's a rainy one here today. Sad to say. But we have some designs to get through, and we have a lot. I didn't actually count, but I think we've got more than last week to look through. So that's what's up. Hi, Mitchell. Hello, B and A. How are you doing? Looks like we are good. We got the word shed here from sunny Devon. Ray is here, and it's working. Andre says watching in Slovenia. Nomadic Blue says sunny and cool. All right, nice one. I'm going to check that everything is working okay. Looks like we're good. All right, cool. I was going to say no technical gremlin. Back. Am I back? 2 seconds, guys. I thought we'd have a technical free one today, but it looks like okay. I'm back. I was just saying no technical gremlins. It's all good, but I disappeared, but now I'm back. Okay, we're good. Code Whisperer is here from North Texas, Chile. Stacy from Southeastern PA, and it's cold. Hi from Austria. CJ, Sherry from New Jersey. Bo is here. Beards and Bibles. We got Windsorpedia from Nova Scotia. Don't say it 3 times. Lily Mohammed from Egypt. Wonderful. Great. So let's dive into it today, because I want to make sure we have plenty of time to get through everything that we've got to get through, which is a lot of designs. Loudstration from Indonesia, welcome along. So we got Brian, we got Sal, we got Lanita. I can see you all. Thank you for joining me today. That's really cool. I'm going to share my screen here and we will get started. Bex from Vancouver Island. Wonderful. Thank you for joining us, Bex. I love your work, Bex, by the way. I think I've got one of your designs up here in a second. Prisma Dew from Oregon. Lovely to have you as well. So today, here's what we're going to do. It's Thursday. It's the 17th of November, the year of our Lord 2022. And we are going to do a design review. So I'll do a super quick intro. I got one quick thing I want to share, which I think will be helpful. And then I'm going to splatter designs all over the page. And you'll be able to see lots of different designs. And I'm going to kind of go through them one by one, hopefully. And we'll have plenty of time, I hope, to learn some stuff here today and give my opinions on some of these things. So, and then at the end, I'll show how you can get more help if you need it. So first up, a little bit about me, if you don't know already. I sell my designs on Redbubble and Merch by Amazon and TeePublic and TeeFury and Threadless and various places. And I've been doing this for about almost coming up on 10 years now. So the majority of my income is from an organic print-on-demand setup. So your Redbubbles, your Merch by Amazons, Etsy, those kind of platforms. So I've learned over the years what tends to work and what doesn't work so well, especially when it comes to designs and ideas and things that are going to sell organically on these platforms. usually when I do a design critique, there's a few, you know, recurring issues that tend to pop up, as in, um, you know, people saying I'm not making any sales and I don't know why that is, and please can you help? And I recognize over and over again kind of repeat problems, which we'll look in some detail today. But one thing that occurred to me is that print on demand, especially like I'm going to kind of come at it from this print on demand angle today, because that, to me, um, I think that's probably where the most of us are trying to make sales. Like if you've sent me a link to your Redbubble or your TeePublic, that's the majority of people who've sent back stuff. I know some people have sent me their Instagram, or maybe they have a Shopify store, but those are usually in the minority. So for the majority, we're looking at organic print on demand, which is to say, um, we're creating original designs, we're putting them out there, and we're hoping, fingers crossed, that people are going to search for related terms. They're going to see our designs and they're going to purchase them. Now, if all that was, you know, you've never heard that process before broken down like that, I'm going to go into that in more detail in a second here. But I say that to say, like, if you're trying to do art licensing to brick and mortar, or if you're trying to sell on your own Shopify store, or you're doing paid ads and those kind of things, you'll probably still learn quite a bit in this live stream today. But I'm going to come at it more from the angle of, you know, how do we sell organically on print on demand, or to be more specific, why are these designs that I've created not selling organically through print on demand, or how can I, you know, increase sales? I can see we got Sal from Turkey, we got Aaron from Minnesota, and Eric from Winnipeg. Cool. Nice to have you guys here. So, organic print on demand is, I think it's a lot like YouTube or running Facebook ads, and I'll explain what I mean here. If you've ever, for YouTube, let's say that you, let's put design out of your head for 1 second. Let's say that your job now is to start a YouTube channel and to start making money from that YouTube channel. Okay, so that's it. Like you can do a YouTube channel on any topic you like. You can approach it via any strategy. But what you want to do is make money from a YouTube channel. So from the adverts that will run on YouTube, that's how you're going to make money. Not from sponsorships. Let's leave that out of the game. But let's just say, you know, you're going to create videos, and you want to make videos that people will watch, and therefore you will make money from the adverts that are shown to the people watching your videos. In that scenario, you are going to have to think a lot like print on demand designers have to think if they're going to be successful, i.e., you know, what are you going to produce designs around, or what are you going to produce videos around? Well, it's going to have to be something people are interested in and that people are searching for. And then how are you going to maximize its impact? Well, you can do, you know, some of the things that work really well, like, you know, maybe your thumbnails are going to look a certain way, or there's certain rules, if you like, or certain principles that structure how you make your video. Maybe you spend the first couple of seconds, you know, hooking them in some way. So in that sense, like organic YouTube, if that was a way of making money, print on demand is very similar. They kind of align a lot. So I often like watching, you know, if you can find some good videos on, you know, how to grow a YouTube channel, or, you know, how to start YouTube in 2022 or something like that. A lot of the advice will be transferable. You know, obviously it's all about video, but if you think about, you know, how do you come up with stuff people are interested in? Where do you go to find where that interest is? And then how do you create something that really fits for that crowd? There's a lot of overlap there. And Facebook ads as well. Like if you know anything about running ads, whether on Facebook or Google or something, you'll know that it's not a situation where you create something and then, you know, you just sit back and then you cross your fingers. It's much more a process of creating a lot of different things and maybe some variations on something, and then seeing what works and then kind of diving in deeper to that. So my point here really is you can't really be sure beforehand what's going to work. Like whether you're a YouTuber or you're producing Facebook ads, and you're a print on demand designer, you don't know that this design is going to sell. You don't know that this video is going to go viral. You don't know that this Facebook ad is going to work. So you put things out there and you figure out what works over time, and hopefully over time you become better at it. But you can't be sure exactly what's going to work beforehand. But especially if you've been doing it for a while, you can be pretty sure what won't work. Like, let's take our YouTube example. You want to make videos that are going to get watched and make you money. Um, what's not going to work? Well, making a really boring video about your carpet or something, something nobody cares about, right? That would be the opposite of what to do. So in the same way, we can be pretty sure that with designs, there are um, certain processes and strategies. There's also certain types of designs and certain frameworks of designs which tend to work well. And we can be pretty sure that this is probably going to outperform this, all else being equal. So we want to create things like this to increase our chances rather than doing stuff that's, like the carpet video example, which was a strange example. But anyway, all right. So, and then I just wanted to, we talked about these before, but the three big questions I recommend you ask, especially if you've been trying to sell organically for a while and nothing seems to be working, you probably have a problem with these questions. So, who is going to wear it? Why would they want to wear it? And how are they going to find it? And, I've mentioned these before a lot of times. I think sometimes people see these as, oh, those are good questions to ask, and then forget about it and go on with your day. Or maybe you're not. Maybe you do. You look at a design and you think, well, yeah, I'm going to ask these questions. But really, these are kind of fundamental. They're not just like nice questions to ask to try and help you. They're actually representing and they're stand-ins for like fundamentals of how you're ever going to sell anything on the internet, and certainly ever selling t-shirts on the internet. So here's an example. This is just kind of a funnel example, and this shows the direction of travel, and right down here would be a sale. So this is everything that someone's got to go through, and the kind of different groups that are going to narrow and narrow and narrow until you end up making a sale right here down at the bottom. So if you're ever going to make money from designs on Redbubble and stuff, you need to get that sale. That this is not YouTube. You don't make money from people looking at your designs like you might make money from people looking at your videos on YouTube. You have to sell something. So this gets narrower and narrower. So right at the top here, you might have like people who like dinosaurs, right? Just a broad group of people. Well, that's great. There's probably a lot of people in the world who like dinosaurs, but smaller than that is the group of people who are actually out there looking for dinosaur t-shirts for various reasons. Maybe they've got a 6-year-old who's really into dinosaurs and their birthday's coming up, or maybe they're going to a paleontology convention and they want a new t-shirt. So all kinds of different reasons, but now we've got people who are actually actively looking for dinosaur t-shirts. And remember, we need all of these to line up before we make a sale. You can't skip one of these layers. We have to go through each of the hoops. We have to jump through each of the hoops if we're ever going to make a sale. So people looking for dinosaur t-shirts, and then we can narrow that down even further. So people searching for a keyword or key phrase that's relevant to your design. So people searching for funny dinosaur t-shirt, not online. That shouldn't say online. It should say funny dinosaur t-shirt. So people searching for funny dinosaur t-shirt. So people actively searching and using a search term that's relevant to your design. And then people are going to click on your design. So, your design doesn't just arrive in isolation. It's going to be on a website alongside lots of other designs. So people have to click on your design. And then finally, they have to like your design enough to actually go ahead and buy it. So these are all the steps that have to happen. And just returning back to our questions, who, why, and how, this is kind of what they look like. So right here at the top level, this is why we ask, who's it for? Is there a market for this? If I want to do a t-shirt design about, my, I don't know, my carpet, for example, again, no one's interested in that. So who, people interested in dinosaurs. Okay, that's something. We've got something. Do those people go and look for t-shirts around that subject? Well, hopefully, because, there's people interested in, I don't know, bad stuff. People are interested in serial killers, but maybe it might be difficult to, sell, specific serial killer t-shirts because people don't want to wear a t-shirt of a serial killer, for example. So we've got to have a market that's also looking for product. And then how are they going to find it? Well, you need to be able to describe it. You need to be able to use keywords that people are going to search for. And finally, you need that why. You need to give them a reason why they would want to buy your design and buy your concept. Um, so so yeah, this is just hopefully a helpful kind of funnel, just to kind of reiterate those questions and why we ask them, and how, if I can leave you with one kind of tip, is this is not uh, this is not like you can get one of these right and you make a sale. It's not like if you have a good enough design, like you're a really good illustrator, then you can jump through everything else and still make a sale. Like, it doesn't work like that. You have to line up everything. You have to jump through hoop number 1, and then hoop number 2, and then hoop number 3, and then you get the sale. And if anything in the chain falls down, you won't make the sale. You can have a really good you can have a market that definitely exists. So people really into dinosaurs, they're looking for dinosaur t-shirts. You have, given it a really good title. And so people are finding your design. But then at the last hurdle, your design is actually just a graphic of a silhouette of a T-Rex, and it just says T-Rex on it. So there's no reason for them to purchase it. So at the last hurdle, at the very final step, there's no sale going to be made there. So just want to, hopefully that makes sense. You've got to get people through every single hoop. It's no good being great at design or great at ideas if there's no one searching for it. And likewise, vice versa. If there's loads of people searching, but your concepts are really weak, then you're in trouble. Okay. That was 15 minutes of introduction. Hope that helps. Let's dive into some designs. So, I received quite a lot of submissions this week. I'm going to do my best to just kind of comment briefly on as much as I can. I think I've got everyone who sent something. So if you see briefly your design on screen here, I'm going to try and get through all of these, albeit very briefly. So in this session, we won't be doing kind of like, a look into your Redbubble store. I know there's a lot of people here who've got Redbubble stores with hundreds of designs on. I'm not really going to comment on your store unless I can really remember it. But I think I can kind of give a brief overview of, maybe some of the problems you might be having, or where I can give some tips relevant to the different levels that people are at. So this collection, this first one we're going to look at, there's some fundamental problems here with these designs. So we start different problems, but all what I would call fundamental problems, as in you are falling over at the starting blocks, if you like. You've got something that's going to trip you up before you're even out of the gate. So yeah, Aaron says some carpet review YouTube channel watching this, feeling not too happy. Yeah, I suppose there is carpet review YouTube channels, isn't there? But and Eric says the carpet really ties the room together. Yeah, of course it does. From the Big Lebowski, of course. You all thought I didn't know I was talking about. Okay, fundamental problems. Please don't be offended about anything I say here today. I'll try and be good cop as best I can. I was thinking maybe one of these design sessions I should just be bad cop and just really let rip. But I'll try and be good cop today. Yeah, someone sent this one in. I think it's a photograph of the moon through like a window or something like that. Stuff like this. We've got really fundamental problems, as in who, who's going to buy it and why, and there's not that many people who submit stuff like this, but certainly abstract art, photography. There's some other examples here where people just uploading photographs, or really kind of basic artwork or this kind of thing. It's not for me to say what's good art or bad art or anything like that, but I can certainly say what I think. I can certainly look at a store and think, is this ever going to make a sale? Is there ever going to be regular sales on something like that? And with these ones, it's just very difficult. Like, I understand if you're a photographer and you've got loads and loads of photographs and you want to try and sell them online, that's great. But I just think you're probably wasting your time, if all you've got is generic images and photos and that's it. I just think it's going to be a really hard slog. You know, you might have better look on stock photography websites or something like that. But generally, people don't like to wear photographs on t-shirts. Generally, people don't like to buy photographs on stickers and mugs and stuff. So all power to you. Wish you the best, but I don't think if you continue in this route, you're going to really struggle with that kind of thing. We've got some other fundamental issues, different kinds of fundamental issues here with stuff like this. We got some IP issues like Star Wars here and Star Wars times Spider-Man here and Halloween here, and you can't really see this one, but this is some monsters, I think. So I just wanted to show those ones and say, yes, you can sometimes get away with doing some IP piggybacking for a bit. I mean, let's be honest, this is just IP infringement, and I think this was on Etsy. I'm not really sure how you still have that up and available, because I'd be expecting you to get slapped down any minute now, unless you've got an official license from Star Wars or Disney to do that kind of stuff. So yeah, just generally those are, like here we've got, especially with these two designs at the bottom here, good designs, well put together, good illustrations, good graphic design sensibilities, but you're doing IP, slightly IP infringing, IP related stuff, and I just think it's a shame when there's really good designers and illustrators who are only doing that kind of thing. And I would just encourage you, by hook or by crook, try to pull yourself out from the fan art or the IP borderline stuff, and try to really figure out where you can do something original that's not referencing something else. Other issues here, again, just kind of a lot of kind of just non-entity designs is what I'd call them. Very difficult to understand if there's a concept going on here, or why anyone would want to buy this, or just difficult stuff to really hook onto anything. Beards and Bibles, I think this to me is more of a logo. I wouldn't be surprised that this wouldn't sell. This is like a logo for I don't know, looks like for a podcast or a brand or something. You can't be surprised that something like that doesn't sell. It's, if I create a logo for my company, guess what? People don't want to buy a logo of my company that they don't know about or care about. So, and then this one here, this was like a parody design, in the sense that it's Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon cover, but we've got George Floyd and the Dark Side of the Blue. And I think that's a case of playing very, very close to the line of being offensive. And I know it is probably not meant that way. In fact, it's probably meant, almost anti-police kind of thing, and that kind of approach. And maybe you meant it to be kind of respectful of George Floyd. I just think highly charged political issues like that, probably best to stay away from in general, especially when you're dealing with a human tragedy or something. So fundamental problems on this page. If you see your design there, hope you're not offended, but those are my 2 cents. I think there's really issues here that are going to trip you up at some point. Generic problems. So let me move my head out of the way here. So not too many individual examples here, but just in general, if you're doing designs that say things like "I love this" and it's not ironic, and it's not like "I love Maine Coon cats," like, yeah, of course, fine, but there's probably a bazillion designs of that approach. I love fast food, vote. These are problems that I would kind of identify as generic, as in you're just doing stuff that's almost completely, meaningless, as in no one really wants to buy that. No one, or if they do, you're in such a busy space. Like if you're doing Happy Christmas designs and it just said Happy Christmas or Happy Halloween, like that, you're not differentiating yourself at all with any kind of strength enough for you to make a sale. Like you could have even the best design in the world, and these are not the best designs in the world, but even with the best design in the world, something that says "I love fast food" is just not going to connect with people. Let's take a look at these next ones. Question from Zed. What are your opinions on anti/pro-abortion designs? They got promoted a lot on my Redbubble Explore page, and I was like, whoa. Yeah, I mean, the Redbubble and platforms, they're going to do what they're going to do. They are open platforms in the sense that, especially with political stuff, you're usually going to see things from both sides. I mean, your question seems to be more about, well, are they safe to do? Yeah, like, of course, political issues are usually, especially if they're up for debate and there's political wrangling going on, then they are safe to create designs around, whether you're pro or anti. But especially when it comes down to, issues of race or racism or those kind of things, that's where things can get very messy very fast. And in general, you'd want to kind of wash your hands and step away from too controversial topics, if that makes sense. Aaron says he loves Maine Coon cats. Carol, if they are on items but not on t-shirts, can one sell interesting photographs online, or would they sell on t-shirts? Like, obviously there are photographs that sell online. Usually, typically, photographs would make good posters and those kind of products. But yeah, you usually won't. They don't work as well on t-shirts, and I would certainly not recommend. If all you have is photographs, I think you're going to struggle to sell t-shirts or photographs, if that makes sense. Sorry, yeah, meant for Redbubble, not directly trying to out your political views. Yeah. Yeah, Redbull's going to do what they're going to do, aren't they? You're going to see stuff you disagree with or agree with, and if you don't like the back and forth of different political views, you're probably not going to like what you see on these platforms. There is, if you want to take yourself away from that and just sell on your own site, where you don't want your designs showing up alongside designs from the other side. You're producing Joe Biden designs and you don't want to see Trump designs. Then you can obviously step away from the melee and stop selling on Etsy and Amazon and Redbubble. But of course, then you're going to have to start marketing and driving your own traffic. So, okay, here's some with conceptual problems. And let me say, by the way, just as a interlude, if you've got a question, this is an open session. If you want to ask me anything, go ahead. You can, don't worry about interrupting me or taking me off topic. I'm happy to do my best to try and answer anything that I can in this session. We've got about another half an hour, which is good. We're making good progress. So if you've got anything you want to ask about print on demand, about creating designs, about ideas, about particular platforms, about strategy, feel free to ask. This is your opportunity to do so. Okay, conceptual problems that I see here on these designs. So here we've got what I would sometimes say, we've got like a spark of a decent idea, but sometimes not executed very well. Or on the other side, just a concept that I'm not really getting. So this fall vibes one, like, there's obviously a joke there. We've got the double use of the word fall, which is nice. But I think this is a case of, there's a good joke there in the sense that a double meaning of the word fall, but it's not executed very well. And maybe it could work as a t-shirt, but it probably needs a bit more work and a bit more thought. So yeah, I think there's like the spark of a funny idea there, but I just think I don't know, you maybe want to explore a bit more how exactly to play with that. The thing that just came into my mind was sometimes you can do this, you have a good idea and then you just kind of reverse engineer it and figure out what's the joke. So obviously the joke here is fall meaning autumn and fall meaning fall over. And then you can ask yourself, where could that double meaning, also play out? Are there famous phrases or idioms that use the word fall and that we could play on? There's a comic that I saw, Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. If I search for meme, yeah, here it is. So, this says Humpty Dumpty had a great fall, and it's Humpty Dumpty, walking through the park and carving a pumpkin and having a nice time. So that's a good example of where, that is the same, uh, what's the word, like anchor point, the same hinge that makes it funny, that makes this design funny. But that's a different way of taking it. And sometimes that's what you need to do. Just kind of have a think about where else is that hinge, that same joke. Where else can we dig into and find maybe some stronger concepts here? Give me that pencil says Redbubble is going to sell what they can. They don't care since they can just close a store that makes problems for them and move on. Yeah. Certainly, if your designs make problems, then Redbubble will shut you down. I don't think that they are like they don't care. I think they would rather, they didn't have whatever it is, super edgy, racist, or whatever content on their store in the first place. But certainly, if you cause problems for them, you will get shut down. So yeah, it'd be better to just kind of stay away from it in the first place than have to, you know, because I get emails occasionally from people saying, "Oh, this I got this design and it got my store shut down. Please, can you explain?" Da 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 da. And it's just you can't do anything about that. It's their platform. If they decide they don't like it, there's no point going and trying to argue and say, "No, you've got the wrong end of the stick," or "It was ironic," or "It was post-ironic," or "It was meta," and it's just not going to work. So yeah. Monica, can you explain how print on demand work? Is there a cost on my end, or does the customer pay for all costs? How is profit gained? Yeah, Monica, if you go to michaelessek.com, there's some blog posts about print on demand that will walk you through the process there. If you scroll down to the footer, I've got an article on print on demand sites and another on print on demand companies, and I go in depth on that. So that's probably the recommendation there. Andrew says, I keep getting delisted from Teespring for putting certain Bible verses, I assume, on my t-shirts. Like the keyword was in Daniel 1:8, the word eunuch. Is there any website that will let me print any scripture from the King James Version Bible? Not that I'm aware of. I'm not aware of any print-on-demand site that says we will absolutely let you print any scripture from the King James Version Bible. I think, though, you may, I don't know what your strategy is, Andrew, but I'm assuming you're not trying to sell every individual verse from the Bible. So I would ask why Daniel 1:8 is. You've piqued my interest now. What does it say in Daniel 1:8, and why would that make a t-shirt design? Sorry, that's the New International Version. We need the King James Version. But Daniel purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with a portion of the king's meat, nor with the wine which he drank. Therefore, he requested of the prince of the eunuchs that he might not defile himself. I'll be honest with you, Andrew. I'm not sure it's going to make the catchiest of t-shirts in the world. So yeah, we may have a bigger problem than that. So yeah. I'm a King James Version man myself as well, so props for that. But I don't think you can expect every print-on-demand platform to be fine with all the language used in the King James Version. Okay, Carol, is something like "I love fast food" too generic to make any sales? Yeah, I think so. Just too generic. Protein Gang, this one here. So this kind of has a, what's the word, like VHS horror, 80s horror, 70s, 80s independent horror film kind of vibe. I think the person who sent this one in, I'm sorry, I can't remember your name, but I think you said something like the concept should be obvious. At first glance, I thought it was, but then the more I looked at it, the more it was just I didn't really get it. So I think there's some kind of, maybe kind of a joke about, protein guys or muscle guys, gym bros, something like that. But it just seems a bit complicated to me, and a bit maybe overworked in some ways, a bit too too complicated. And maybe we could row back and find a more simple way of addressing that. Okay, where should we go now? This one here says Sub-Zero is really my friend, and we have a polar bear, and these are apparently the coordinates for the North Pole. Again, like I think we've got a concept problem here. If we ask, who's going to buy this, someone who's into polar bears, okay, but why would they want to say, why would they want to wear something that says Sub-Zero is really my friend? There's much better ways of. Oh, you can't see that one too well. Maybe if I do that. And just design decisions as well. This is not very easy to read. So yeah, just kind of concept problems here. Saturdays are cute. Not really sure what's going on there, to be honest. Try medical marijuana first. Again, like I can kind of see where there's going to be, obviously there's a big market for marijuana, for recreational drugs in general. But what is this design saying? What's the joke? What's the hook that's going to grab someone and make them buy it? I'm not seeing it here. Here again, we've got a Day of the Dead skeleton, so we've got something to tie it to, but I'm not seeing, a strong reason for someone to like this. And similar to, like this design here, we've obviously got here a good, a skilled designer, a skilled illustrator, but unfortunately, that's not usually enough to generate a sale. A great illustration it's one of the reasons someone might buy a t-shirt, but it's not often the kind of things that sell in via organic sales percentage wise. So it's harder to um to expect sales from something like this. You'd have to really be good at describing the kind of art, and then you'd have to know that there was a market out there that was searching for that type of art. So I think, if you're a really good illustrator, for example, you can produce stuff like this. My advice would be try and figure out how you can incorporate and make strong t-shirt design concepts with strong hooks, and that's usually going to be jokes and puns and humor, and those kind of things are the easiest ramp for you to kind of ride to get to stronger designs. These ones here, not seeing any other questions come in, so we'll crack on here for a second. Yeah, most of these, again, kind of some concept problems, couple of design issues. Cute but creepy up here, like that's a nice enough phrase, but again, I think it's almost a bit too generic. There'll be a lot of cute but creepy out there on Redbubble and Amazon and everywhere. So what are you doing to differentiate your design from the rest of the pack? And the answer here is not a lot that I can really see. I think there's some decent design sensibilities here. We've got a limited color palette. The approach to the layout is good in some ways. It's filling the canvas pretty nicely of the shirt, but it still looks a little bit amateurish. And probably the biggest problem is, the concept, cute but creepy, is just going to be, I don't want to say generic, because it's not as generic as some of the stuff we looked at earlier, but it's probably just going to be, there's not much to set you apart with a design like that. This cactus, anarchist cactus, is very nice, but again, we've got no text, we've got nothing extra to really hook onto. Is there a joke? I mean, yeah, you could kind of say like the cactus sticking his fingers up. That's kind of a joke. It's kind of a visual gag. That's fine. But again, it's just not strong enough for me. And again, who's going to be searching for something like this? How do we get it in front of those people? Those are the problems we're going to tackle. This one is like, I think, supposed to be like boba tea, but it's kind of in a cauldron. Again, I'm really struggling as to who exactly is gonna go for this. How do we describe it? And again, some design issues, like if this is going to be a t-shirt, it probably works better as like a sticker, which is fine. But even then, like, I'm not sure why you've gone for like a green solid square behind it. And I'd probably get rid of the, I don't know what this is, smoke or dust or something. Get rid of that and get rid of the square, and you might have something that would sell as a sticker, which is fine. Sons of Lethargy, live slow, die old. So here I can see a decent attempt at a concept. We've got something that has a crack at. I think the person who sent it in said something about lazy old guys or something like that, which is fine. But again, I think it's probably difficult to really get that concept to the people you want it to, and for them to really connect with it. Are that many people looking for something like, t-shirt for lazy old guys, or are those is that demographic much more inclined to be buying things like, I'm the best grandfather, or I'm granddaddy to three little munchkins? Those are the kind of questions I'd be asking. Like, oftentimes we want to, because we have a funny idea, we then work backwards and try and impose it on the market. It's a lot easier to try and find what the market is already swimming around in and do your own spin on something like that. So yeah, I can see a decent concept and a good attempt here. I just think it's unlikely that something like that is going to lead to regular sales. This one down here, the Egalitarian Arm Wrestling Club. Again, I don't know if I'm missing a joke with that one, but I feel like I am almost. It's a nicely designed t-shirt. It looks like a t-shirt. It's nice and clear and readable, and it looks like a logo for a club or something with a nice illustration. It's a robot wrestling a skeleton. But I'm just not getting the concept. Maybe it's maybe I'm missing something there. Adventure awaits, and we've got a book open with some characters and dragons and things flying around. This is an example of where I would say, we've got a decent concept as far as it goes, perhaps not the strongest in the world, but and we've got some good decisions made around design, like a limited color palette, and the colors look nice on the navy background. But then we've got some really strange design decisions, like it looks like we've got all this dead space in the middle. I know it's not dead space because there's letters in there, but design wise, size of elements and layout, looks a little bit amateurish. Even though you get some of the things right, some of the other things are letting it down. So again, I think this is probably a case of, there's a good concept to be had there around. Well, actually, I think you've spelt things wrong. Oh, adventures await. Sorry, I was thinking adventure awaits. Adventures await in books. Absolutely, that's a good concept. But probably got design issues here. This one, again, another example where I'm getting designs from someone who's a very skilled illustrator and can produce very good, high quality, professional looking design work. But conceptually, as a product design for a t-shirt or something, it's a little bit on the thin side. It's hard to see why someone would hand over money for this design on a shirt, because the concept lets it down. The illustration is very good and very cool, and obviously, motocross and dirt bike drivers and whatever, they're gonna gel with that illustration. But is that strong enough to really make a sale? I think that's going to struggle, and I think you need, again, if we had a pun, if we had a funny tagline, if we had a message, there's so many ways you could, instead of just rap, maybe I'm wrong. I'm not a motocross rider, driver, cycler, or whatever. But yeah, I think that's my concern on that one. Okay, we've got some questions, so I'll pull up these designs while I answer some questions. Gustavo, how can I apply my designs to be reviewed on your channel? You can sign up at, here we go, I forgot to put my little banner up, haven't I? You can sign up at michaelessek.com/live, as you can see there, michaelessek.com/live, and then you will be on my email newsletter, which will get you weekly free tips and tricks from me, which I don't share anywhere else. And you'll be alerted when I put out a request for designs to critique. And then maybe next week, or whenever I next do one of these, you'll be able to get yours reviewed. Bibi, I'm more of a sticker designer, but I'd really like to be more flexible with my work so I have a better idea. Thank you. Okay, I think that means that was one of yours we just looked at. Bo says there's a market for biblical passages. I've seen people wearing them. Etsy has at least designs that are used by crafters, but I'd wager they have shirts too. There's certainly a market for biblical passages, but yeah, not the most obscure. Not the most obscure ones. Aaron, it's much easier to see what the market is swimming around and do your own spin. Yeah, you say you're going to write that down. Yeah, I think that's who said that. Was that me? That's quite smart. That was good advice. Yeah, yeah, you don't want to have to force backwards your concept on the market. And this is why it's good advice to always be your market as much as you can, to create stuff around things you're already interested in, because then you aren't in a position where you're, pushing your concept on your market, because you are the market. And so this is going to click well with them in the first place. But yeah, certainly if the choices are, I have my idea, I'm going to create it and then try and somehow sell it to the market, versus find what the market is already responding to and do your best to produce your own design and your own original concept for them, then I'd always choose the latter. Mary, should design have text? Can it just be beautiful flowers? Yes, it can, but it's very hard to differentiate yourself when you are producing a design that is just beautiful flowers, because there's thousands of other people who are doing that. And um, don't get me wrong, there's some people who make very good livings drawing beautiful flowers and not having text or jokes or puns. That's not me, but some people do. I think that tends to be, people who do pattern design and are on Spoonflower and those kind of places, less so the t-shirt designs and stuff like that, because that tends to be, more of what sells on your Redbubble and on your Amazons and everything, and your Etsy's is going to be a funny t-shirt, is going to be a joke or something like that. So yes, you can do beautiful things. I just think it's harder. It's especially harder to make sales from organic platforms, or to expect easy sales from organic platforms for such types of designs. Bex, maybe Adventures Await would do better on Zazzle, where someone could personalize it and put their kid's name in the middle. That's a nice thought. Yeah. Yeah, we don't usually think about that, but yes, Zazzle does have the ability to do personalization, and if you can incorporate that into a design, that's definitely something you might want to consider. Good point, Bex. Monica, Adventure Awaits might have a beam of light emitting from the book and have the characters floating in the light. Okay, well there you go. Whoever Adventure Awaits belongs to, a couple of ideas for you. Okay. And Gustavo has one more. What's your opinion on using public domains painting and adding text to it, like having text, my spirit animal is a painting of a cat or a horse? Yeah, I think the general question is public domain imagery. Can you use it? Yeah, I think, you can, but I would always want to do a lot of alteration and changing of stuff. I personally don't use public domain images. I always create my own artwork as best I can. But I think that, it's not wrong to do it. You're obviously safe to do it, but you just have to be aware that anyone else can do the same thing and take that artwork and use it themselves. So you're not really building that much for the long term, where compared to someone like me, who's going to be drawing everything from scratch and owning the copyright from the ground up for everything that I've created. So that's an issue there. Andrew, would you do faith statements, positive affirmations, inspirational quotes? Yes, absolutely. But even behind that, the real question is who are you creating stuff for? Are you creating stuff for Catholics? Well, Catholics like the Pope, and they like saints. And there's so much material there with. Not just with religion, anyone who's into anything. Are you into communism? Well, you like Karl Marx. Would you like a Karl Marx quote? Yeah. Would you like a pun based on Karl Marx's name? Yes. Would you like, just a funny picture of Karl Marx in a Christmas hat or something like that? Yeah, probably. the answer is yes and amen to all of the above. Um, and my point is simply that you want to get to that motivation of what's driving someone. Some Christians would, just like a nice scripture on a t-shirt, that's fine. Some might prefer, a kind of ironic statement or some kind of sarcastic, maybe not sarcastic, yeah, maybe, some kind of ironic joke or something like that. Or there's obviously like a strong tradition, maybe not tradition, but there's a lot of Christian parody designs of different things, ketchup with Jesus and all those kind of things. So yeah, it's just a case of thinking, what can you do differently, and what is the market going to respond most to? These designs here, before we wrap up, we've got about 10 minutes. These are what I would say good concepts, and I just have a few kind of design recommendations or tweaks for these. Brachiosaurus is really nice, especially this is Aaron's, I think. We have the Brachiosaurus with the scarves on, which is cool. I just feel like Brachiosaurus being such a big word, it would really benefit if we could, um, somehow shape. The thought I had was, could you have the kind of burr, kind of going behind him and around, kind of shrinking or something, and then the Achiosaurus towards the end, just kind of break the word up. I know that's sometimes difficult to do, but I just think that would make it a more engaging design because it's a little bit flat and because it's such a big long word. Alternatively, I'd prefer to use a really tall font so that we can actually read it a bit clearer and the text doesn't have to be so small. So just that on that one. Gouda vibes only, very funny, very nice, simple little illustration. I think again, I'd like to push this one a bit. I'd like to get the text a bit bigger. I'd like to see like a real kind of 60s hippie or 70s kind of vibe with the text, and just kind of, it's just a little bit flat for me, and I'd like to really push it. You got the good vibes only. Let's really dive into it and maybe get another couple of colors in there or something. Let's Get Lit is a really nice concept for Christmas lights, and I like the little characters, but this design is not it for a t-shirt. This is just a blue square that's going to sit on the chest. It's not going to look nice. So, I would do something like Let's Get Lit, the text, 3 different spots, and then have the little light characters around it, something like that. But it's got to, blend into the shirt. You probably want to limit the color palette a little bit as well. Just shake it up. Pitch Me a Smile is a nice concept. This is obviously a sketch, not a finished design. And I like that. Probably just needs fleshing out, actually. But yeah, I don't really have a design improvement because it's not been designed yet. Holy Smoker is nice, but could we lean into the holy a bit? Could we make it look like a stained glass window or like a saint or something like that? Could we have a halo? Can we sell it a bit more as a concept instead of just the smoker joke, if that makes sense? Excuse me. You Came to the Wrong Neighborhood is okay as a concept, certainly, with the geese. I think there's a bit of a mismatch between the kind of text here and the graphic. The graphic is quite kind of bootleggy and gritty. The font is not. Also, don't know why you've got a very thin yellow line under here, under wrong. That just seems wrong to me. So yeah, just a couple of tips on that one. Woman Life Freedom. Again, for a t-shirt, this is going to take up, just a small space on the shirt, and the text is going to be really small. And I had a look at your store. I can't remember your name, but you've got some really good designs there. You've clearly got good design sensibilities, and I think this was just one that could use a reworking, and try and fill the canvas on a shirt, make the text a lot bigger so it's going to be nice and readable. You probably want to play around with this text as well, because compared to some of your other designs, this is really kind of basic. So yeah, have a corntastic day. We've got some sizing issues here with the text. It's really small. again, it's kind of like the Gouda one. We've got an illustration, and then we just got like a little bit of text, rather than really incorporating the text into part of the design and making it all kind of fit together, and really selling it and having it jump out at you. So some design improvements on there. These ones, just wanted to say, these, if you're on here, let me see. Again, I can't remember people's names, but Cow and Cat, you've got an Instagram page. You draw really cute stuff. I think it's hard for me to really comment on stuff like this, because the sale is going to come from probably, people who follow you on Instagram. It's hard, I think, to sell such stuff organically through search, because it's such a, where do you begin to describe it and stuff? But you're obviously incredibly talented, and I would just encourage you to lean into the kind of Instagram model. I mean, if you do want to sell more merch, then I would consider not less of, but as well as, your really nice illustrations like this. And you do have a few on your Instagram, I saw. Try and do more of the jokes, more of the puns, and those kind of things, to think product first, rather than, I'm doing a nice illustration and I'm going to make it available on a product. Go the other way. Think what would really work well on a product, and then draw, obviously in your style and in the thing to make it work right. Bex, you've got obviously very good design sensibilities. I can see that across your store. I picked these two out because here we've got an example of a really good concept design that works on a t-shirt, with a limited color palette. Nice simple design, but still detailed enough for it to be attractive and visually attractive. But then this one, it doesn't really work so well as a t-shirt. And I know it's probably not been designed as a t-shirt in the first place. This is just Redbubble, and you've made it available as a t-shirt. And I know you've got a lot of kind of pattern designs and stuff as well. But I would just say more of this, less of that when it comes to t-shirt design and that kind of thing. And more of the, making the design part of the product, so it blends in and it's not just a big box or a little box or anything. And I know you kind of know that already, because I can see it in your work, but I just thought I'd pull that out for the benefit of others as well. Is there life on Mars? I can't remember your name, but again, very good illustration abilities. We've got some very good, talented illustrators joining us. And again, I think you are going to benefit most if you can find a way to do your own spin on stuff. There's a lot of good illustrators here, again, doing kind of IP referencing stuff, Mars attacks here, or fan art of various kinds. I understand why you do that. And, it can be very helpful to help build your platform on Instagram or get followers and stuff. But when you want to sell products, it gets risky. And then I just feel it's a shame when there's really talented illustrators who haven't yet really clicked into what makes a good original, design for a product. So I would advise you to get my book and think about, how you can develop the kind of concepts that are going to work for t-shirts that are original concepts that you don't need to, riff off of other stuff for, if that makes sense. This one here, can't remember who sent it, but you sent in a few of these kind of classical paintings with guitars. I think it's a funny concept. It's good. It's not what I would call an ideal thing for like a t-shirt, but maybe that works as postcards or posters or prints or something like that. And it's the kind of thing you would see kind of go viral, or blog posts would write about it, that kind of thing. Copyright issues may be a bit risky, but I'm sure these are very old paintings, so perhaps not. Hex Your Oppressors, Dismantle Capitalism. Again, just wanted to pull this out because there wasn't really much I could critique from your store. I had a look at your TeePublic. It seems like you're doing pretty good, and your design sensibilities are generally very good, very similar to my kind of approach in terms of designs and stuff. So I just didn't really have much to say. So I just pulled you out as an example of someone who's doing good. So I hope that helps. All right, let me just reiterate that you can get a few free goodies at michaelessek.com/live before I answer a few of these questions that have just come in. My ebook, free book, 5 Ways to Improve Your Design Ideas and my Idea Files ebook, and you get subscribed to my free weekly newsletter. So if you're not already on, head over to michaelessek.com/live to register for that. And then if you enjoyed this, but you'd prefer a private consultation or a bit more dedicated time so I can give you my advice one-on-one and look at, more deeply at your stores and your designs and your strategy, then I do offer one-on-one consultations. You can head over to michaelessek.com/consult and just book a slot on my calendar, and I'll be able to help you there. Let me have a look at some of these questions that we've not looked at. Aaron said he did a Karl Marx Santa greetings card. Marx asks, what do you want for Christmas? The kid says the means of production. Yeah, exactly. All I want for Christmas is the means of production. Gabriel, I have a few bestsellers which had a lot of improved cuts. Do you recommend continuously releasing new designs or protect the existing ones? Yes, Gabriel is the answer. I protect my bestsellers, but if you're going to build a strong business, you're going to have to keep producing stuff. There's never really going to be, I think, a point where you can cut off and say, I'm done producing designs now. I can just live off this for the rest of my life. So if you want your business to continue to grow, you do have to keep putting out new stuff. But I would also recommend dealing with copycats where you can, especially on your bestsellers that's going to hurt you if they get copycatted. Andre, are there any sites that do tea design contests like We Love Fine did in the past? Yeah, Tea Fury and I think a lot of those are still around, right? Yeti, Ripped, Shirt Punch, Once Upon a Tea. There's quite a lot of them still around. So yeah, I would recommend that. I know Aaron does well with Yeti. He's had a few designs there recently. So yeah. Windsorpedia says, Gouda is mine. Seeing it on screen, I just realized the text isn't working, so I'll work on that. It's good to zoom out and see your designs as a thumbnail because that's how they'll look online. Yes, that's good advice. Okay, not seeing any other questions. Thank you. James says the guitar portrait is mine. Made sure I've only used public domain paintings. Very sensible, James. Kathleen, hi. Since Adobe no longer includes Pantone colors, how can I ensure my colors will print correctly? For example, I tried printing a design example, but the bright blue prints out as dull blue. Unfortunately, Kathleen, I don't think there is a way, and I think that was probably the case even before the whole Pantone Adobe thing kicked off. All these, this is where you draw a distinction between you as the designer and Redbubble or Amazon or whoever as the producer of the product. I'd like to draw that distinction in my head and think, I'm giving these designs to Redbubble. It's their job to do a good job producing a good quality print and a good quality product earned by the customer, and really they have more of an interest almost in that, or at least we're aligned on that. So I don't worry about color printing and stuff like that. I consider that Redbubble's job or whoever's job. Obviously, if you're the seller of records, so if I was selling on my Shopify store, then I would take more of an interest in that. And obviously, if people started reporting issues or they were kicking off about something, then fine. But I've rarely found that to be an issue. I've very, very, very rarely had people say, I'm not happy with the color of this print or something like that. So I think, I would just draw that distinction. If you're going to be licensing out to Redbubble and others, then you are licensing art, and it's their job to do the color stuff. And if you're crazy obsessed about the colors being perfect, then you probably don't want to be in this game because you can't guarantee that all the way. Aaron says, if you're an artist looking to improve, I highly recommend participating in the Yeti community, supportive and thoughtful. Yeah, good advice, Aaron. And I would second that and say submitting to Tea Fury and these kind of sites is really good practice because you are getting immediate feedback on stuff. And if something gets rejected, then there's something wrong with it. And if something gets accepted, you're on the right track because these guys are what's the word, selecting stuff. They're not just putting up every design that comes to them. Bex, is it better for SEO to update an existing design or upload a brand new one? I don't think either of those would have an impact on SEO directly. I guess if you say update an existing design, you're talking about like adding new keywords or something to an existing design. Well, I suppose like designs usually once uploaded would then be indexed by Google and then indexed by Redbubble and in the system. So, if you're going to add new keywords, then fine. Yeah, I don't really think there's a distinction to be had there between, you're going to be uploading new stuff anyway, right? I don't know. Is there a specific? I feel like there's a specific use case you're circling around there, Bex. I'm not quite privy to it. Kathleen, do you design using RGB then convert to CMYK or design in CMYK? I just design in RGB and then I upload it as is, and then Redbubble will convert it. So yeah. Eric, the requirements for print files should be on every site. Typically, they want RGB, PNG. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Private consultations there. The ideas workshop, if you want to learn how to generate original ideas that actually sell. So a lot of the issues we've come across today are issues of concepts and designers not really being able to create the kind of ideas that people or that sell regularly is really the problem. So if you feel like that's you, that you're struggling with your concepts and you're not confident about what you're putting out, then the Ideas Workshop is for you. It's my dedicated course that teaches you how to come up with original ideas that sell. So you can actually do this yourself. You don't have to copy other people. You don't have to do your version of someone else's quote. You can come up with your own sayings and phrases and puns and concepts. We have a private community for direct help from me and from others in the community. And we do weekly live calls where you can get help in a private setting. So if you're not particularly happy about sharing your designs publicly on YouTube like this, then we have a much smaller dedicated community where you can do that inside the Ideas Workshop. And you can find out more at michaelessek.com/ideas. So I think we will wrap it up there for today. We've gone just over an hour. Make sure, if you're not already, that you sign up at michaelessek.com/live to get free goodies and join my newsletter. Where am I pointing there? I hope you got something out of this today, guys. Thanks for joining me. We've gone over by about 7 minutes, but at least we didn't have too many technical issues. Hooray. Kathleen says, thank you. Aaron says, fun stream. Thanks. No problem. Next week, it's Black Friday on the Friday. It's not Black Friday on Thursday. So maybe we'll do something a bit different next week, but make sure you're signed up at michaelessek.com/live. And that way you'll know as soon as you possibly can do what we're going to do next Thursday, whether we do a design review, whether we have some Black Friday deals to look at, or whether I have a special offer or something that I might share about. We'll find out next week. So hope you can join me for that. And I'll be in your inbox on Tuesday with a usual Tuesday tip. Otherwise, hope to see you next week. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Anna, Eric, Jeffrey, Windsopedia, Svetlana, The Wordshed, James, Andrew, Bo. Thursday is Thanksgiving. Okay, so maybe Thursday might not be so good. Maybe we go live on Friday instead for Black Friday. I don't know. Just make sure you're signed up and you'll find out there. We'll figure it all out by next week. We'll do it live. All right. Thank you, guys. Have a great rest of your Thursday and talk to you soon. All right. Bye-bye.